as DPS players in order to play supports for their team, and then you see the evolution of how people are playing. It's such a pivotal role when it comes down to these brawl comps. Yeah, you have to be applying the armor packs at the right time, although most of the time your target is just going to be the Genji. And you also need to be perfect with your positioning, pushing forward enough to be able to give your Genji Inspire healing, but not too far forward so that you get punished. And Alarm has been absolutely one of the best in NA at getting value out of that brig. And they're going to be on the attack right now. And as far as I can tell, this is going to be pretty much direct mirrored comps throughout the whole of King's Row. This is going to be electric, Brent.
This is going to be so good. Map 2 of the Grand Finals coming at you. Hot off the press. You can see the Pass Eternal going to be on the defense. The Philadelphia Fusion, having their time in the sun, going to be attacking first. And Carpe going to be opting for the Ashe, actually, a role that he's getting more and more comfortable on, making it look almost indistinguishable from his Widowmaker at times. He's a very potent hit-scan player, as everybody already knows. He's got that reputation. You see Philly taking an early rotation, but that dash straight through them. The Hulk comes through. EQO, meanwhile, taking a bit of a flank here. An off-angle, trying to build up the blade, trying to find his target, which was Exi, but Exi goes down early to Carpe. A disaster right now, and Carpe, headshot after headshot, he's finding his marks. Easily done. EQO can clean up the remnants, and it is like it is 2018. Beautiful to see, and Josh, I am so pleased, not to see the pause, but so pleased to see Genji in the meta again.
Yeah, it's spectacular to see it come back after so long outside of the metagame. We do have a small pause here, unaware of what that is, but we'll update you with any details as we get them. And it's the Philadelphia Fusion coming out ahead of this first point.
This is getting a lot of space in the map itself. Sacrificing his own life to do it, but as long as he creates space for Sparkle to really take in the damage and put out a lot of damage, he considers his job done, so it's a unique style. But heading back into the game now, as you can see, the Philadelphia Fusion, the ones who get a nice and easy cap, they have roughly 5 minutes to work with here as they're moving into the later section of King's Row.
That's a really big time bank to be able to work with. Sparkle 20% ahead in terms of the Blade, though. So Paris will be wanting to take a team fight here. Based around the Blade, maybe Blade and Rally isn't something that they can go for. Perhaps they'll start with a bit of an Immortality field. Sorry, an Amp Matrix. That was a risky bit of a peek, but here comes Sparkle.
Blade, the Hulk was there, but the Immortality field almost instantly, and Carpe sends in Bob, goes for it. Sparkle still finds 2 kills. I mean, don't ask me how, that's just absurd, but Carpe made sure to even it out. Pass Eternal still want to continue this one though. Hanbin using the Gravitic Flux, takes out Fury. No longer in the fight, no longer able to supply the damage, the shields, the mitigation. Philadelphia Fusion not stopping. EQO has the Blade ready. As you can see, he's going to be coming off of the spawners, coming back into the fight. He's now with them. Hanbin might be a little bit out of position here. The Philadelphia Fusion still rolling forward, trying to take as much space as they possibly can. The Hulk comes through. Certainly sort of combo, but Carpe goes down. Overstepping
Carpe
himself.
was on a flank angle. Yep, he was on a flank, and Hanbin just meets him and takes him out of the engagement. That was really nice awareness to know that Carpe would go for an aggressive peek there. And essentially, Sparkle has saved them in the streets phase. Those 2 kills meant that Philly couldn't keep the momentum going. And even though they gave up a bit of ground, they were forced to. Paris are able to hold on here around this bend. And we're going to be getting close to a Ben Best Supercharger as well. But the Philadelphia Fusion have got so many ultimates to be able to work with here. The blade from EQO it's going to be a super blade, surely. The supercharger from Sado and EQO just dashing into them.
It has to be a team fight win for the Fusion as well. You can see the Hulk comes through, and look at that, immediately the blade to follow through. Carpe finds 1/2/EQO, making mincemeat of the opposition. And that is a nice little team fight win. Philadelphia Fusion going to be pleased because Sado didn't even have to use the supercharger. He's still got it for the next push.
Yeah, they just go for the dry blade there. Obviously comboing it with the Gravitic Flux as well to lift some players up and kind of make other players a bit more vulnerable, like XE in the backlines. But that's huge because Sado can now reply with Benbes. I don't know whether you really want to contest the blade though. It's more about putting Carpe in the best position to find a clutch pick early on.
Carpe asking for the
saying
armor
he needs
pack.
healing.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's asking for the armor pack early, but Sparkle's got a blade. Oh! But Carpe shuts him down. The deflect could not help him from behind, and the Bob is immediately going to be sent in as well. Carpe 80 HP and a dream, trying to take the 1v1, but Exit getting the better of him in that engagement. An interesting series of events that have transpired before our very eyes. EQO deleting Benbes means that this card will continue to move forward now. Philadelphia Fusion with a lot of opportunities here, but Past Eternal are getting the respawners back, so it's a dangerous scenario to keep pushing.
It is dangerous, but if Carpe can be able to position himself on a high ground, then he's essentially uncontested. It's so difficult for Exy to push him back up. Okay, hold into the Gravitic Flux.
Oh.
That's going to knock up a couple of players.
So much damage, and it's forced out the Immortality Viewer, but Carpe again! Another pick off onto Exy on the high ground, just peppering them from above. And now EQO goes in with a blade of his own. 300 HP. He's a bit of a raid boss in his current scenario. But the Immortality Field going to be stopping him in his tracks, but the right clicks are certainly not. Benbes falling once again. Are you kidding me, Exy? EQO, he thought he had him right then and there. Still Paris, they've been given a bit of hope now, and Sparkle with the blade wants to shut it all down. Deflect going to be utilized. Carpe brings him down, but not before the rest of his team fell among them. And a quick little whip shot from FD God will definitely put an end to it.
What a save from Exy. If EQO had managed to take him down there, I think that Philadelphia Fusion are able to complete. And 3 minutes are still left here. Carpe has been monumental in this attack. He has found opening picks time and time again to set the Philadelphia Fusion up into 5v6 fights. Paris just can't fight on even ground with them. They must take control of this high ground. They must deny the positioning from Carpe.
Sparkle's just trying to deny it from them, as you can see. He's trying to take control. He's right behind Carpe. Goes for the dash. Does not quite connect it so low, but the heals are there. Now the dynamite applied. Sparkle has to back off. He has to get away, but he's going for another little approach around the back, and he's just trying to contest it, take it away from the opposition. But Carpe's now built up Bob. High ground here, looking for an opportunity to use it. Philly have so many ults to work with it as well. Bob now going to be forcing their positioning. The dynamite just missed. Sparkle going for the reset here. Gravitic Flux setting them up and down. Past Eternal in a bit of trouble, but they're going to answer back. Hanbin now coming in with one of his own. Putting in the damage, putting in the work, and Fusion, it looks like they are pressing their advantage. Moving forwards. A couple of abilities forced out here. Paris still holding on strong, but now Alarm with the rally. This is such a big HP advantage moving into this next fight, but what a boop! FD with the whip shot removes Alarm, and that's no more rally for this fight, Josh.
That's incredible, and Sparkle's here with the Halt again from Benbes to try and clean things up. Does infinite damage by the look of it, and all of the rest of his team are able to clean things up. It's so much fun to watch this guy play. Sparkle turning things around, but really that began with the clutch boot from FD God. What a whip shot. FD God was criticized unfairly, I believe, early on in the season for only being good at Lucio. His Brigitte did not look great, but he's made such enormous improvements on that hero, and he now is genuinely scary.
Amplification Matrix used now by Fielder just to force Philly away. They can't play into this, and Fury gets yoinked back. He's halted into the line of sight. They remove him instantly, using the damage from the Amplification Matrix to do so. Paris are looking to see if they can get another pick off, just peeking the corner, but all they do is feed a little bit more ult percentage, so Carpe's going to be working with a Bob in the next fight.
Brendan, the Philadelphia Fusion had 5 minutes to be able to capture point C. They're down to final fight territory, relying on EQO to clutch.
And EQO goes down, but Carpe gets the better of his counterpart. Exy goes down, so this is still winnable right now for Philly, and it's always winnable when Carpe's on the field. They've got to try and keep him up, though, as Sparkle just harassing him with the right clicks. A lot of damage plugged into Sparkle there as well. He's going going to be the infra site used by Exy, so they know exactly where Philly are coming from. Rabbinic floats into the air here. Sparkle with no blade, but the right clicks to try and chunk down one of the main tanks there. Sado falling very, very, very low. Bob going down, but EQO with the blade! Shut down, Hambin puts him away, and now it's Sparkle's turn to come back, but 15 HP, not enough to try and put in the work. Philadelphia Fusion may be able to turn this one now. Moving forward, the halt is perfect, so much damage being pumped into them. The accretion from Fury knocks Hambin out of his grasp, and it's in the overtime, but it's eventually going to be the capture. Philadelphia Fusion just pulling it into the park.
Great stuff from Philly towards the end there. Carpe electric throughout the entirety of their attack. And EQO, he can't quite get it done, but he forces Paris Eternal back far enough, and crucially, Fusion also shut down Sparkle. That's a really close first round on King's Row. And a reminder that this is where Paris began their upset over the San Francisco Shock. Let's take a look at this replay from Alarm's point of view as well. Just pushing forward, making sure that he's triggering that Inspire healing, just cleaning everybody up.
Honestly, this was the Carpe show, because I think if Carpe didn't get that kill onto Exy at the tail end of that fight, when EQO had gone down to Sparkle, there's no way they win that. There's no way. Carpe, again, turning up for the Philadelphia Fusion, turning an unwinnable scenario, or a very difficult scenario, I don't want to call it unwinnable, into a 3 capture. So, wonderful stuff from the Fusion there, and
Brent,
their turn on the defense.
I will say, though, the Philadelphia Fusion did better than the Shock did against Paris on King's Row. Shock weren't even able to full complete on King's Row. So, Philly, they managed to push themselves into another round at the minimum here.
Good work from them. So you can see they're just deciding where they want to set up here. And just around this initial building is going to be the spot. Pass turn on the attack. I don't think X is going to be rolling out with the Hanzo, but he may be giving them a little bit of early information with the recon arrow. See it probably come out. Yep, so just they want to see if anybody's hiding around the flank. They notice they're not, and XC's going to make the swap to the Widowmaker. Long sight lines here on his first point of King's Row. We've seen some iconic moments. See if XC can live up to it.
EQO playing split away from the rest of his team. Again, that slightly different style.
Already.
But yeah, you can see the difference, right? Sparkle just builds up his ult so fast. He's at 60% when EQO's at 20. I mean, clearly there is an advantage to playing the way that Sparkle does.
Yeah, it's full aggression because he's supported by his team, but Fusion, they go straight back in. They capitalize. They immediately notice that there's an opportunity here. Paris Eternal used all their cooldowns to support Sparkle and build up that blade. Thankfully, Fusion, they play a bit more proactively and they force them away and take the team fight win. Now, the downside to that is EQO did die at the end of that team fight. So there's a bit of a timing mismanagement. And Sparkle now has a blade.
Sparkle has a blade and it will be used, I think, in this fight. They're not going to wait for a rally or a supercharger. He just builds them too fast. He's ahead of his Batiste. It's absolutely absurd. But you saw EQO as well. His style be successful in that previous fight, netting him 2 kills. Sparkle with the blade. Here we go.
It's perfect every single time. Bembe supporting him. Exy from behind, laying in the shots, and Sparkle with 2 kills. That is going to crack open point A with no worries in the slightest. And the Paris Eternal are going to be quite pleased with this. And this play style, the way they just build around Sparkle, emphasizing the blades, trying to build them up as fast as humanly possible. It just works when you have a player like Sparkle, a Rookie of the Year candidate who came into the season midway through and has revitalized the Paris Eternal.
If he keeps playing like this for the rest of the season, he will be a Rookie of the Year candidate for sure. He hasn't really played very much, but every single moment he's played has been incredible. And he starts out again with another kill onto EQO, which I think was reflected. I think he used his deflect to kill EQO with the damage through Boombox's own amp matrix there.
Look at that aggressive dash. I mean, Genjis can only do that if they have the full support of their team. If they know that they're going to be there with the shields, with the cooldowns to save them. Sparkle has that mind, that presence to try and do that. EQO on 94% of his blade, Sparkle on 60. Sparkle's just used his blade.
I also want to give credit to Exy though, because he got 3 kills in that point A attack. And when you have a secondary DPS that doesn't get as many resources but still comes out with results like that, it makes Paris such a deadly team.
Should be a Fusion win though. Look at the ults that they've got here, the blade, the supercharger. It's all going to come together now. As you can see, the Flux is going to be utilized. And now EQO with the blade finds 1, finds 2. Wonderfully done. A lot committed in Sparkle. No. Sparkle, what are you doing? That is just egregious. Far too cocky.
I think there were only 2 people alive. There must have been 3. I think it was Sparkle and both of the tanks. And there was a supercharger down, so Sparkle decides to clutch. I mean, Sparkle, you have been clutched, and I love the confidence, but that's a little bit too far.
Complete hubris to think that he could even take that, even with the supercharger. You need your team to support you with abilities. And the Fusion, of course, they're going to punish that. They're a good team. You can't go slacking when you're going up against the Philadelphia Fusion because you get caught being whacking. I don't know where I was going with that one, but it works in the end.
Yeah, that's a phrase.
That's a phrase. we made it work. Fusion.
The ult economy, though, is totally reset for the Paris Eternal. They've got double support ult to work with, but Philly are miles ahead here, and this is looking good for a long hold of point B.
Nice flank attempt by Exy. Takes out Boombox immediately.
Things.
No more Immortality Field. And that means that Fusion, they have to go aggressive. As you can see, they've been pressed into the front line of the Paris Eternal. As soon as you lose your Batiste player, you have to make plays like that. But Paris Eternal take full advantage of the fact that they didn't have the Batiste. And they win the team fight pretty single-handedly. And it means that now they're going to be rolling into this checkpoint with a lot of time bank. How much is it going to be? So 4 minutes.
4 minutes. A minute less than the Philadelphia Fusion had, but they have far more time than they really should have been having. Exy has been...
Are you kidding me? Okay.
Exy has been ridiculous on this attack. It has been, as much as the focus for both of these teams is on the Genji, and that's their style, Exy has taken this attack into his own hands. 3 kills on point A, the flank to open up point B, and now that opening kill too.
Exy did go down, thankfully. EQOE traded out the kill in the end. Sparkle is close to another blade, and when he's got a blade, realistically, a lot's really, possible coming into the team fight. Let's see what Tarpe can do, because he is one of the main turrets, but Exy is putting in a lot of damage. So we see this Gravitic Plug sent up, but I believe it was cancelled, so it didn't even get off there. The Mortality Field instantly, but the swipe's through! Sparkle again with 2 kills, but luckily the Fusion have taken advantage of that. They move forward and they're going to even it out. A very winnable fight now for the Fusion, because they've still got both of their main tanks up and Boombox to keep them healed.
That is one of the coolest fights I've ever seen. Ben Best and FD God went for a flank because they need the halt and they need the Inspire healing to keep Sparkle up in the engagement. And Philly realized that and they just pushed forward. And now they're still getting the punish on Fielder and Hanbin, who were left alive. That was amazing. That deserves a little breakdown all in itself. What a heads-up play from Paris Eternal to even flank like that in the first place. And Philly respond with the perfect counter, pressing forwards and taking the 6v4 fight.
That's when you know you're looking at elite teams. It's those microsecond decisions that can make or break team fights. Philadelphia got the better of their counterparts that time. Exy now with the Bob to work with to see what he can do. He's going to send it in. Bob is there on the point, leading the charge for his team. Amplification Matrix as well, but Fury, excellent Gravitic Flux. So much damage being worked with, and he finds 2 kills, which means that this is going to be a dead push immediately for the Paris Eternal.
2 minutes left for them. Philly still holding on to an Amp Matrix, which can certainly net you a kill, but it will slow down the attack, and a Supercharger. The Paris Eternal themselves have a Supercharger and a Rally, and they will be getting close to a Blade, so those are the ultimates that they want to try and combo together. The Rally and the Supercharger are probably your most important supportive ultimates for Sparkle. One giving him damage, the other giving him survivability.
1 minute 30. That's all they got to work with. What is that headshot?
He didn't even see anyone.
Yeah, it was just a little pre-fire around the corner. Interesting. Well, not a lot of time to work with if you are Paris, but they've got ults coming back online. It's going to have the Supercharger Blade, but Philly want to play aggressively. They're going to use the Bob, going to use the Supercharger. Paris cannot play into this. They can't afford to. Sparkle's going to
But they are still giving health to Sparkle. Yeah. So this Rally still gives him survivability, even though it was used and kind of negated. Okay, the armor pack off him now, and Sparkle goes to engage.
Blade, but great response! So how does he find 2 kills? That is absurd! Fusion responded with the rock, the Immortality Field, the halt, everything was in order, and now Paris Eternal rolling forward, Hanbin with the Gravitic Flux, no one can touch! And the Paris Eternal, they just roll it in. 1 minute 50 seconds, 53 seconds to be precise. Slightly more time than the Philadelphia Fusion to work with, but a completion nevertheless.
Yeah, a couple of things to point out there. One, Sparkle manages to kill EQO as he's drawing his blade. So even though EQO wanted a clutch blade of his own on defense to try and save that fight, Sparkle shuts it down. Genji on Genji action. And then the other thing to point out as well is that those 7 seconds are a lifesaver for the Philadelphia Fusion. If Paris had managed to capture with over 1 minute left, Philly would not get another chance at attacking on King's Row. The best they would have been able to do is a draw. So the fact they were even able to delay for 7 seconds is potentially map changing. Could be series changing here for the Fusion.
I'll remind everybody as well of the pressure that's on Fusion here to perform in the Grand Finals, because how many Grand Finals has Fusion been in? I don't have a stat offhand, but they've been in so many, and they've really almost come close many times, but they've never came away with a win, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Josh. The Philadelphia Fusion, they have some of the most vocal fans in the league, some of the most vocal fans in the world as well. There's a lot of pressure on these players' shoulders to perform and actually come away with a win here. And every map matters in the end, but it's going to be rolling out with their attack. Same composition. Carpe and EQO have got to come up huge.
They really do. This has to be absolutely monstrous for them.
Going to be rolling out here. Just poking, prodding, seeing what they can find. Sparkle on the defense as well, just prioritizing the blades, but that's good damage from Carpe immediately. Playing around his shields with the rest of his team. Seeing if he can find a head or two to just take off. Gets a kill. Look at this rotation. Okay, the halt to pull them back into the fight. Paris want to be fighting them early here, and Carpe comes out on top. That's what you want to see from him. The superstar player turning it around. Headshots coming out all the way from the flank. 2 pickoffs for him, and that's going to make it so much easier for his team to work off here. It's always easy when Carpe is alive, and that is a beautiful little capture. It will eventually go to the overtime. I believe it only adds a bit of time. It might not even add any, actually, when it comes to the hybrids.
Yeah. It's just going to be down now to whether the Paris Eternal can shut this down. Exy was thinking of going over to the... Ash, and he actually goes to the McCree instead. I'm not sure whether this is going to give Carpe too much room, too much respect. And EQO's close to a blade as well. This is looking risky. If Philly win this team fight, the overtime spawns are going to mean a long push with only 1 minute that they began with.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on Paris to win this one, but even more so on Fusion. They have to play perfectly. The ults are going to be changed out. It's pandemonium for a split second. Immortality Field's coming out. The overtime was burning down for a split second. Gravitic Flux, surely not. Is it going to be the Sig 9? Lifted up into the air. Can anyone touch? They do just about. The Immortality Field as well, but a Sparkle using the blade, moving into the back line. Has to deflect, but he's going to find his kill. And the Fusion are stopped dead in their tracks through the Streets phase. Paris Eternal now with a very winnable example in their sights. They only have to push that cart a short distance. Of course, they still have to capture the first point. But Fusion probably wanted it a little bit further down the road.
Definitely. Sparkle blades first there and really turns the fight around. I think as we go throughout this series, I'd like to see EQO being more proactive with the blades, setting, or rather letting his team set him up for those initiations instead of always trying to counter or clutch things. That's the second time in as many minutes that Sparkle has bladed and EQO gets taken out as he tries to counterblade. But nevertheless, a very winnable situation here for the Philadelphia Fusion, and that seems to be the theme so far, winnable. The first 2 maps have been really close. I mean, Paris actually edged further and further ahead when it came to the second round of Lijiang, but the first round could have really gone either way. And this King's Row has been tough for them. 1 minute 53 seconds is not a long amount of time to be able to crack open point A. They really need to take the first engagement. They can't allow themselves to get behind in the ult fight.
You remember how Paris won it last time? It was honestly Hanbin's Gravitic Flux pulling them into the air. Exy getting 3 pickoffs off the back of it. That allowed them to open things up, and you can see Exy now on the Widowmaker once more. Try and do it again for his team. See if he can strike gold. Has to be forced away because of the spam coming towards him. Very winnable for Fusion. Teams rotating around here. The statue. EQO just trying to find a bit of blade build-up. You can see him taking aggressive angles, this flanking style that he's been playing, but he's being jumped on here by Sparkle whilst the teams are clashing straight up. Hulk's coming through. Sparkle going to be using that deflect just to negate a lot of the damage going his way, along with the armor pack. EQO in trouble here. He's 1 HP, has to use the deflect and dash defensively. Moving back to his team. Fusion still trying to play into his Sparkle. Are you crazy? Diving straight in between the Fusion. The death sentence in many cases, and finally the team are going to start to go down. Fusion punished them, winning the team fight.
Exactly the same thing that happened in that previous round as well. Oh, that's brutal. The kill onto Exy. That's exactly the same thing again. Paris go too aggressive trying to charge up Sparkle's blade and force a team fight, and EQO punishes them from behind, combining with the rest of his team to pinch and get the opening kill. For Paris, the way that they opened up point A previously was with Exy getting an opening kill and 3 in the fight, but now he's on McCree.
Yeah, moving over to the McCree for whatever reason. Feels like it's better suited for Fusion's comp. Feel confident,
it forces EQO. It forces EQO to play tighter with the rest of his team. He can't play as flanky because what if he gets flashbang?
Yeah. Difficult scenario. Antmage's going to be used. Carpe with the kill. Could be critical. Could be exactly what they needed. Sparkle's blade negated perfectly to Fusion. Coming out on top. EQO with the blade, but he gets shut down as well. Only 16 seconds remaining. The Paris Eternal, they got to stay alive here. Are they even going to have a chance to contest this?
Only 8 seconds left, and Sparkle, he's moved his way over to the Tracer to try and get back to the point in time. Hanbin has a flux as he attempts to set something up, but they're pushing into double tank ults.
Overtime was triggered in the end there by Sparkle as he moved on to the point. Gravitic Flux used by Fury, now searching for the perfect spot. Lifts 3 players up into the air. No one will survive that, surely. The Immortality Field saves him. Exy kills EQO, who moved over onto the Tracer of himself. Do not tell me the Paris Eternal are about to clutch this one, please. Exy, ring around the rosies, trying to find these headshots, but not quite when the shields are in the way. Alarm with the whip shot puts down Sparkle, and that will be that. The Fusion will reign supreme on King's Row, and they will take the map away from the Paris Eternal. We are going to 1-1.
They always make you sweat for it, don't they? I hear you, Philly fans. It's a nail biter whenever they take the field. That looked like Paris were going to clutch it there. Exy comes back on the McCree, nearly found a pick. Hanbin as well. There were potential opportunities for Paris to get the payload moving, but Philly come out on top. Paris were the better team for the majority of King's Row, and it was a bit of a questionable map pick in the first place, but Philly, they win it out. And that set us to 1-1 heading into the half. How many times have we heard that, Brent? 1-1 at the half.
Isn't it? Yeah.
The Summer Showdown has been so tight.
It's been so good, man. We've had so many upsets just earlier in the bracket, and now we've got this finals that's so close between these two teams. And Philly, as you said, Josh, a big risk with them picking King's Row. But think about what this is going to do for Paris' mental now. Philly winning on a Genji map, all things considered, a huge win for the Philadelphia Fusion. And we're going to find thing as well, though, Josh, to play against the Vancouver Titans and another to play against the Philadelphia Fusion.
Very true.
Quite different teams in a lot of regards.
Yep.
And we'll see.
Do you think it's fair to say, Brent, that even though the Genjis have been the focal point, I really feel like this is going to come down to Carpe versus Exy?
In a lot of these duels, it really has, actually, I think. A lot of these team fights.
Already has.
Because there's no doubt in my mind Sparkle is going to be getting the better of EQO, just on the basis that Paris play around Sparkle so much more. And EQO's job is to try and, distract Exy and take away his attention so that Carpe can pop off. So a lot of this is going to come down to these hit scan players. Exy versus Carpe, rookie versus veteran. And we're heading now into Volskaya. The teams are rolling out. The Paris Eternal is going to be on the attacking side, seeing what they can get done. Exy going to be on the Widowmaker. The Halt just about misses. So the Halt accretion not getting any value, but they do get a lot of space here. You can see Paris immediately rotating around.
It's their attack that's absolutely crucial. This has to be executed well. Exy on the Widowmaker is going to have a slight advantage over Carpe when it comes to these long-range sightlines.
Are you kidding me?
If he can kill EQO there, that would have been... That's just game over if he manages to get that kill.
EQO kills Exy, though. Just dives onto him. Exy a little bit too out of line, maybe. Trying to get the kill, trying to get the trade. The Shuriken, okay, why not? Sparkle goes down as well. And this is just going to be curtains for this push. I mean, At this point, Fusion are going to be just pushing all the way into Paris Eternal, just trying to kill these stragglers. They do just start building up a pretty big ult advantage now.
I know that you said earlier that you're confident that Sparkle's going to get the better end of EQO. Would it surprise you to know that EQO had quite a number of more kills than Sparkle did on King's Row? He had like 4 more kills than Sparkle ended up getting, and his KD was quite a lot better as a result for it. EQO is playing the kind of style of Genji off on the flank, where he's finishing off a lot of these kills. He's going for the finishing blows after Carpe has done damage, like Reinforce was talking about on the desk. And so I think that, yeah, Sparkle's going to get a lot of value, but you see there with EQO just getting the opening pick onto Xe that this style of Genji is not to be discounted.
It's very reminiscent, I guess, of 2018, but the ults are going to start to come through. Sparkle, 75% to a blade, but EQO again getting the better of Xe, and that was Xe over onto the McCree, forced over to it. With a dash coming through, now the blade, EQO wants to make the most of it. Let's see if he's capable, but not really necessary when the rest of his team is there pumping in the damage. It's going to be a nice little setup there for the Philadelphia Fusion. Another defense. And I just got to note again, Xe moving over to the McCree to try and handle EQO a little bit more. Give him that presence, I suppose, the flashbang, trying to make EQO a little bit more scared. Not really the case.
Let's take a look at Carpe here on the flank as well. I really don't like the McCree pick from Xe because it leaves Carpe open to do whatever he likes. He doesn't have to worry about a long-range hit scan player from the Paris Eternal. What's Xe going to do? Plink him from long distance with the McCree? I mean, the guy is good. Don't get me wrong, Xe might be capable of that, but it's not a consistent strategy to put pressure on Carpe. And if you leave Carpe open to do his own business, then you better have some kind of spectacular game plan.
That is a lot of damage, though. Gravitic Flux straight up into the air, and Sparkle dashes through them before the Immortality Field even came into effect. That's an opening kill for them. Sparkle now in the back line here. Hambin a little bit too far forward, but Shadow will fall. And it should just be a matter of time now, as only a few more players of Philly are remaining before the Paris Eternal do eventually open this one up. And honestly, it's a pretty good scenario for them, all things considered, because they've got that blade to work with still.
Yeah, despite the amount of work that EQO was able to get done, and Carpe being free to cause his terror, impose his will upon the opponents, Paris and Hanbin in particular found a really nice angle for a Gravitic Flux, and the follow-up from Sparkle was perfect. Is there any potential for a snowball to develop here? 3.5 minutes, Sparkle with a blade. They can try and push the Philadelphia Fusion back with an Amp Matrix and then get room for Sparkle to blade here. There isn't really that much for Philly to stop them.
EQO's positioning is hidden right now. Silent. Sparkle, the blade doesn't get anything done. And Xe falls. Nice dash coming in from EQO in the back line. He's going to take them out. And what was looking like such a good scenario for the Paris Eternal, perfectly played by the Philadelphia Fusion.
That flanking Genji once again. And also great understanding of Sparkle wanting to go for a blade, because the Philadelphia Fusion played really spread there. A great counter to the Dragon Blade is just to not give them any opportunities to get that first elimination, get the dash reset, and it's impossible for them to swift strike into the next person. EQO now has a blade, and on defense, EQO's blades are going to be absolutely pivotal. If Carpe doesn't get a kill, then EQO is going to.
Wall comes out to that blade. Put her eyes on him. The Hulk does not connect. As you can see, Paris, they tried to go for something there.
Look at EQO again. Look at that positioning on the right-hand side from this camera.
No one knows he's there.
Miles away.
No one knows he's there. Gravitic Flux is going to be used. This is where they want to be going in. Cancelled. Accretion from across the map. Hanbin not going to be getting anything done. Xe goes for the flashbang. Doesn't find his target, which was EQO, and Carpe gets the kill onto FD God. And I got to say, this is probably going to be another dead push. Pass the turn, they got it back.
And think about EQO's flank there. He forces out the Immortality Field just by playing the assassin style of Genji. And if you force out Immortality Field and you can go back in with Blade, if it had been needed, then EQO would have wiped them, because the main counter to him has been expunged from the battlefield already. I'm loving this EQO style of Genji more and more as we go on. It's super intelligent.
It's so cool to see the stylistic differences as well between these two teams. Really playing out. Carpe, his ultimate. Enough to really disrupt as well and contest the point if they need it. As you can see, Paris Eternal gone for a split approach here. They're actually keeping Bembest on the high ground. Now he's going to be going straight down the middle. The amplification matrix laid down while the high ground has gained. Another Gravitic Flux, though, going to be used here by Fury. Sends him up. Mortality Field going to be keeping them alive, but eventually destroyed. But not before Sparkle got the kill into EQO.
That might be crucial. If EQO is down, they don't have to worry about their backline being attacked. And Paris can now focus 100% forwards. The Rally Blade and the Supercharger is going to follow. What can Sparkle get done?
That's it. The Blade comes out, and that's given so much space for his team to work with. EQO answers with his own, but he cannot find any targets. Has to try and just evade and dodge the damage. He's the last man standing right now in the high ground and the deflect. Sparkle, this mechanical warlord, just able to just find these opening picks, able to just get anything done. And it is just Paris now taking what's theirs. The Philadelphia Fusion, they try to go over to the stalling characters, but not enough. 42 seconds is what the Paris Eternal have claimed in their time bank.
Great punish from the Paris Eternal. EQO has been hiding on those flanks the entire time, and Paris eventually managed to catch him out. It took Exy moving over to the McCree. It took Sparkle trying to man-mark him, and finally, EQO falls.
Here's our Blade.
Here we go. This is Sparkle.
This is just Sparkle's raw damage. And there's a reason why I said, you know, mechanical warlord, because look at these! The dash melees! It's so stylish to deflect! Oh, I'm getting so giddy just watching this, man. I mean, Genji was one of the primary reasons that I just fell in love with Overwatch, and to see him being played all the time, it's magic before my eyes.
I've seen people tweeting already, Brent. Already, with Sparkle only being in the league for, what is it? I don't even know. It's been a matter of weeks.
Matter of weeks, maybe a month.
His birthday's the end of May, so I guess it's been like a month and a week. Sparkle being eligible, people are already talking about whether this guy is the best Genji in Overwatch, as in, like, historically. Haxal might have something to say about that for sure.
Oh, yes. Yes, he will.
And there's some other great candidates if we think about the history of Overwatch, but the mechanical skill of Sparkle is bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. His knowledge of how long his dashes are going to be, his timing of all of his abilities, and his aim to be able to combo up his shurikens as well. Mechanical Warlord is the right name for this dude.
4 minutes, that's what the Fusion have got to really work with and work around here as they try and make their approach, their attack. And the Paris Eternal's defense, as we've already made reference to, was very good against the Vancouver Titans when they were playing on Volsky Industries. They know exactly the right timings to take. See, nice little headshot there. To be building up his ultimate. Pretty tremendous. Fusion now just trying to rotate around the high ground here.
I think it's a bit of a fake. They realized that Sparkle would be pulled out, attempted a whip shot, Sparkle's got a dash to disengage. And they're just prodding each other out. This might come down to a first pick coming out from Exy and Carpe, because both teams are kind of tentative.
Oh my! Okay, Exy finds the opening, and there's a lot of spray down. Sparkle with the deflect as well, but Carpe gets the better of Exy in the end. It's a 1-to-1 trade. Still winnable right now for the Philadelphia Fusion, and they think so too. Amplification Mage is going to be used here. Bembest falls. No more main tank for the Paris Eternal. Nothing to really stop this damage being pumped into them. And Carpe in the off angles. Look at him go. 2 kills for him. 3 in total if you think about it. And that is going to be a quick point A capture.
Really nicely played by the Philadelphia Fusion, recovering after that first pick from Exy. Carpe being an incredibly important piece for the Philadelphia Fusion's puzzle. EQO, he's at 30% of his blade, but Carpe continues to come up with the goods, and the tank line for the Phila Fusion rock solid as ever. But now they have to deal with Sparkle on the defense. Sparkle point B defense as Genji has so far been an uncrackable complication for people to deal with.
Josh, here he goes! The blade is going to be used! And how does he get that kill onto EQO? Immediately spotting the vulnerable target. Only 1 kill, but 1 kill is more than often enough to try and stop this push, and Philly seem to agree. Just stopping for the time being, seeing if they can maybe halt Sparkle towards them, get an opening pick.
It's what they've done though is so important. If you disengage when Sparkle uses ult, you stop him building up the next one. Because often what Sparkle does is he blades, and then he'll build up 50% of his ult in the cleanup fight. Okay, well, I mean, when Exy's hitting shots like that, it really doesn't matter, because this next push is dead in the water, and Sparkle's already going to have another 50%. But I think thematically and strategically, that was a great decision from Philly.
Philly making the right moves, but sometimes you got to account for that extra element, and that extra element is Exy, the same way that Carpe is for the Fusion. Sometimes he can just have those moments of brilliance where he pops off, but Fusion now with a ton of ultimates to work with here. Paris play aggressively, going to use their Gravitic Flux, and that's going to force out the Immortality Field, but it gets destroyed instantly here. Carpe going for a flank, he has the armor pack applied, and look at this Fury, finding so much work. EQO now with the blade, 1 kill for him. Might be a second one. The accretion going to be stopping him in his tracks and haven't been trading it out, but Fusion are looking so dominant right now. In complete control at this point with so much time to work with. This is looking like a Fusion dub right now. Stall Heroes now going to be used as Bembest moves over to the Wrecking Ball. The Immortality Field keeps him up for a brief moment. Exi now over onto the Tracer as well, just to see if he can get anything done. But as the players just tumble and fall onto the point, they quickly get removed from the Fusion. The prioritization.
Sparkle has a blade, but he gets caught out. I thought that maybe if Hanbin was able to stay alive for long enough, he might get a chance to use it, but it's not looking like a possibility here.
I see no world in which the Paris Eternal are able to do this one. And finally, the Fusion, they cap it up. A beautiful amount of time there. And this map is looking tremendously winnable for them now. 3 minutes, and I believe that was 39 seconds they had to work with. Was indeed, I can count. Nice, good to see my education didn't go to waste.
But you know how that started, Bren? It was another punish on Sparkle. Sparkle got too aggressive trying to build up his blade because Fusion had denied him that ult charge in the previous fight by disengaging. And so Sparkle feels incentivized to go in. He must play aggressive and build up his blade because that blade is the key to holding Volskaya point B. But instead, he goes in, extends his welcome, overstays his welcome rather, a little too long, and he is the first casualty. And with Sparkle down, the Paris Eternal just crumble. You can't rely on Xe getting picks all the time. They're just a welcome surprise when they do occur. Sparkle is the key to the Paris Eternal. And if Philly continue to focus him down and take him out of the fights, they will have unlocked this series. They will have unlocked the trophy.
Yeah, a trophy that they've been hunting for so long now. The Philadelphia Fusion trying their darndest to not be denied of that victory in a finals. I know the Philly Fusion fans have been clamoring for it for
always a team with infinite potential. Yeah. Always a team that makes it deep. Always the team that falls short at the end.
Can I just say as well, how cool is it that EQO is on the primary roster where it may happen as well? Like, consider this as well. EQO, a guy who didn't get much playtime. Well, you know, a guy who this year didn't get much playtime, but he's coming in playing the Genji for them, and he's coming alive. It's beautiful to see.
All right, Sparkle and EQO vying over this high ground for a moment as Xe is escorted up to his perch where he's going to continue to try and find opening picks on the Ashe. He was pretty decent at doing that previously on Volskaya point A. But this time, yeah, there's only 25 seconds left.
And then look at this, EQO trying to find his opening pick. Great halt onto the low ground. Forces out the Immortality Field, EQO. Okay, just about survives on 20 HP, but that's the go button right there. The Fusion, they press the advantage. Going straight into them. So much damage. Not a lot to work with. Desperation plays as the Amp Matrix is utilized, but it will not stop the Fusion. They will not be denied. And that is going to be that full hold. So we've seen every now and then the Fusion are going to be happy with that. And now they have 3.5 minutes essentially to just get a single tick.
This is looking so good for the Philadelphia Fusion. That was all set up by a really good hold from Sado off the high ground as well. Sado's another player where 2020 has been his year. Yeah. He came in and he made the grand finals in 2018.
Remember how many people, Josh, were calling for him to be removed from this roster last year?
They all wanted him gone. Everyone wanted him gone. Yep. He was feeding, he was dying first on Reinhardt. He must be trash, he must be washed. This guy, he just needed a fresh team around him, a little more support, a team with more coordination, with more drive and ambition to become elite and to win the trophies once again. And as soon as he got that around him, Sado has looked like one of the more consistent all-round main tanks that we actually have in the league. He's been good on the Orisa, as he was when he played in the finals in 2018. He's been so improved on the Reinhardt, landing 6 shatters right from the beginning of 2020. And his Winston, as usual, has been impressive. But it's that halt paired with EQO's aggression that sets things up for the Philadelphia Fusion now to just attack and get a single tick in 3.5 minutes to let them take the lead 2-1 in our grand finals.
Fusion now on the precipice of a win. Only 3.5 minutes stands between them and that one tick, of course. That's all they have to get. The Halt accretion misses, but the rotation here, as you can see, Philly are just taking positioning. And Paris have to play perfectly now. For a long time if they want any chance of trying to draw this map.
Exy on the McCree. Again, I cannot say that I'm a fan. It has been working out for them. It worked against the Shock, and it's worked so far against Philly. But I really do feel it gives too much space to Carpe.
Carpe, a dangerous man, to give him this much space. But look at this, Philly now on the high ground. Just slowly trying to take whatever space they can. Exy misses the flashbang. That's EQO, I should say.
Oh,
Breaking his ankles, but it matters not because Carpe off on the flank. Maybe a little bit too far forward. Gets taken out, and that has put an end to the push here. Holt, as you can see, Paris are trying to take full advantage of this. Sparkle with the Shurikens removes Sada from the fight. The dash comes in. EQO just about dodging, gets to deflect in time, but eventually removed as Exy takes him out with a quick little headshot.
nice work from Exy. Produced a lot in that fight. Partly because Carpe went for a flank, which I don't think is the best idea when you're playing against a McCree. I think you should just try and play the long sight lines. But Exy certainly delivers there, and he has quashed me and my doubts. The Philly Fusion are down to 2 minutes remaining. What an absurd hold this would be if Paris are able to pull it off.
And it's looking entirely possible. Again, the holds, the accretion. Oh my goodness, a Deadeye. It takes out one, but EQO instantly dashing into him. Takes him out, and EQO somehow still alive on the high ground. Amplification Matrix used here by Paris as they are desperate to just close out this fight as cleanly as possible. They don't want to be losing any more players. Could be the difference.
I think you take that every time. I think you take that every time if you're Exy. Sure, one of your primary hit scan players dies, but Fury's gone, that's one shield disappeared, and they win the fight with the Amp Matrix. Now they've got Sparkle's Blade. If they can turn a fight with Sparkle's Blade here, they're actually looking good for the hold.
A little bit spread, a little bit staggered in terms of the positioning for Fusion, and now that 3.5 minutes is now only a minute and a half. Sparkle with another Blade moving in. The Immortality Field is denying him, but it does buy his team a lot of space here. Pushes them back. But a well-played, a little bit of a defensive maneuver there by Fusion, because now, Josh, look at the ultimates.
This ult bank. They didn't force out anything from the Fusion. This is where they need players to go huge. This is where the clutches have to happen.
And this should be the Fusion's team fight to win. This should be where they close out this map. Now they've got 2 picks. They don't even need the ultimates. They don't even need the Blade. Everyone's deleted. Everyone's destroyed. And that is going to be Volskaya Industries going the way of the Philadelphia Fusion, leading this series 2-1.
What a spectacular performance from Philly. The veteran presences of Carpe and EQO resurrected from their roles in 2018, and EQO is putting on a show. Everyone was doubting him. Even at the halftime break, I could see people in the YouTube chat saying, Sparkle is 100 times better than EQO. Well, EQO dominated on Volskaya. Even though Sparkle's building up his blades, EQO's flanks, his control over the high ground, and crucially, his picks and his harassment of the backline have led the Fusion to be up 2-1.
The entirety of the Fusion squad has been playing so well together as well, so coordinated, especially those final moments. I mean, a lot of teams would crumble then when Sparkle's coming at you with the Blade, but the peel was excellent. They disengaged away, they used the Immortality Field, they used the accretion, anything to stop Sparkle from getting anything done. And then they move back in with the superior ult advantage. Very disciplined, and this is a Philadelphia Fusion that I think is looking like they're approaching the peak, the pinnacle that we've talked about so often that we want to see this team reach. Moments away now, only 2 maps away from potentially being crowned as the best team in North America. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have potentially the culmination of this series really concluding before our very eyes. We'll find out, though, can the Paris Eternal battle back? Don't go anywhere.